Oh, good morning, everyone, and especially my friend Paige Wolfe. One of my favorite thoughts is that each time you meet somebody, it could create a whole new world of possibilities, something that wouldn't have happened, but by that meeting, maybe not much at all, but who knows how things can ripple out and amazing things can happen. And I'm really glad I met you. And it was actually just scrolling through Facebook and saw you and reached out and oh my goodness, a lot of things have happened. Since then, you've become a diamond. You, in turn, have touched a whole lot of people. And I just love the power of this. And I think I'm getting old enough for a lot of people when I meet somebody, one of the first questions, are you retired now? And I'm just so happy to say, no, I'm just getting started. And a lot of times I'll joke and say, actually, I'm 75, I'm having a midlife crisis, and I'm starting all over with my encore career, and this is the funnest thing I've ever done, and start talking to him about what we have here. But I just think, oh my goodness, find something that you're really passionate about that you would never want to retire from because it's just so fun. And this is just a really amazing hobby that happens to touch other lives, makes a big difference, and it pays really good. In fact, last week I got a check from Avini for sponsoring people. You get weekly checks and you get monthly checks. And my weekly check was almost $1,000. And I thought, oh, my goodness. And so I want to share with you a pro tip, because sometimes I don't get anything on that week. But on the other hand, the big thing is consistency, talking to people. And usually when you reach out to somebody, it's in the follow-up. And most people, when you call them, they say, oh my goodness, I'm so glad you called. This is destiny. Honey, go get the credit card. Sign me up. They usually don't do that. It's a step after step. And so as you drip on people, one of the fun things is you'll get somebody and you put them in the holding tank, and then you can go to all those other people that are in your follow-up thing and say, hey, I just sponsored somebody, and I think they're really good. And I'm in a position where if you join right now, I'll place them under you so you can get in and actually do that. And they say, okay, I'll do that. And then I'll put them in the holding tank. And now I've got a couple of people. And then I reach out to the next one and I say, hey, I know you're going to want to do this, but let me tell you why this is the right place at the right time. I've got two people, and if you'll join right now, I'll place them under you, and you'll come in with the business already going. And you can do that, and it's just really fun. And FOMO is one of the most wonderful things there is, FOMO, fear of missing out. And a lot of times that could be more urgent, more motivating than just the desire for gain or do something. And where Avini has so much to offer and hardly any risk at all other than just your emotional security, because, oh my goodness, what's the worst thing that can happen? You reach out to somebody and they say no. If you get a little mental toughness, then all it is just a numbers game where every time, everything to gain, nothing to lose. And even the ones that say no, that they fit into the laws of probability, the magic of large numbers. And then also, I think, invaluable is the practice, just getting better and tuning up. And then also, so often no isn't never final. It could be just not now. But I wanted to talk about that because basically what's really wonderful about the Avini plan is essentially when you're first getting in, a lot of times people say, what are the requirements to be successful? And what's really fun is you can sponsor people and you can sell product and actually earn income weekly if you do that. And it can be substantial if you get good at it and do it often. But right now, Neil has given us a special deal. So now throughout the whole month of February, anybody that you recruit, if you are on auto ship, that's a key part. And then if you get two or more, then it activates half again more on all of those commissions. And so Neil wanted me to mention that, but I want to mention it too, is because this product, this company, the marvelous things that we have, the only way they can work is if we get them off the shelf at the office. And so we've got all this equipment, and it's fun to say that everything is total vertical. We've got our own biochemist who's just world class, the best product, but and total control from the raw material coming in to him formulating it, creating it, shipping it out the door. Nobody's touching our stuff except us, but without people. So the most valuable thing is you. And so fundamentally, I think there's three keys in this business, and it's really important not to get them out of order. The first one is recruit. Next, recruit. And recruit. If you can do those three things, you'll be really successful. And so I like having an extra incentive based on recruit. And three times, but if you do it two times or more, then you get half again more. But I want to turn the time over to my good friend Paige, who we met, and now we've got a good relationship. And you're one of the leading people in all of the world of Avini. And as it continues to grow, you're gonna have a bigger piece of that because you got some really big players in your business. And isn't it fun to wake up and you think, oh my goodness, I've grown, I'm getting bigger. And if you've just got to work and get paid, go to work, get paid, very linear, you've got to experience this idea of go to work, and all of a sudden things just become exponentially, reproductively bigger, and you have a business that has a life of its own, and it's way beyond just your own individual input. It's the most wonderful feeling, and all powered by these products that are changing lives so dramatically. And so you, Paige Wolfe, you've got a lot of people that are feeling better, maybe even alive today, only because you took that step. And so, Paige, tell us a little bit about you, how you found this and what you're doing, and some good ideas to take it further.
Boy, Dave, thank you very much. We could just talk for hours, couldn't we? This is very exciting. Yeah. And this is my whole purpose in life. I didn't pick it, it chose me. And as most people know, it started because I was born sick. And it took me 53 years to connect the dots. And it was just in the last 5 years, like so many of us, we have woken up to the fact that we live in a toxic world and we can't out nutrition it. We have to take that garbage out first. So that environmental working group study that I finally read, I think it's like 40 pages or something, that's when finally I started to connect the dots as to why I was born sick. And because my parents are very hardworking, and dad was a mechanic, had a gas station. Mom is one of those people that's super hands-on. I would wager everything that she was up to her eyeballs. They were building a house while all three of us were being born, beautiful house in Vermont. And I promise you, she was probably up to her eyeballs in paint, stain, pumping gas, helping dad in the shop until her water broke. So we were all exposed to all those toxins before we came out of the chute. And all those years working in health food stores, because when I walked into my first one in Lake Tahoe, it was like, this is where I belong. I love this field. I love the whole thought of anything healthy, because I was on that path of, I just want to be healthy. I was so tired of being sick all the time. So yeah, it took all my life to connect those dots. And I have to say, all those years working in those nutrition departments, we never once talked about heavy metals. And the detox was what Rick says, what people usually talk about when they talk about detox. It was just going to the bathroom more, something to clean out your colon. That was it. Never, ever a mention of heavy metals. And all of the great things that I did, I tried everything. I consider myself a constant student. I am all ears to anything that I don't know about. All those years, I just never connected the dots that it was the heavy metals. And when you, Dave, found me on Facebook and shared an interview with somebody that I had respect for, I didn't think that I would notice anything. I was probably, like most people, skeptical. But the reason why was because I'd actually gotten my health under control for the 7 years prior. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't getting sick like 2-3 times a year. And when I started on Cell Defender, I believe that you instructed me to take 10 drops. I think it was 4 times a day or more. I know me, I was like, I'm just going to take it as often as I can think about it. So in hindsight, I bet I took it 10 drops at least 6, maybe 8 times a day. And I expected nothing. I had no idea what it was going to do for me. I just thought if this mutual friend of ours was giving it a thumbs up, I trusted him. I didn't know you from Adam, but I trusted this guy. And lo and behold, the first thing I did, because I heard all these stories of, you can put a drop in each eye. That was an eye opener, to say the least. Less than 48 hours, I'm like, wait a minute, everything's crisper and clearer. I didn't know I wasn't seeing crisp and clear. So I suggest that to people. I say, can't hurt, might sting a tiny bit for a split second. You just go blink and it's all better. And that's a quick way to, it might help you. You might notice something right away. Who knows? It can't hurt you. It's going to get there anyways. It just takes a little bit longer for the blood flow to get to our eyes. And then within 3 weeks, I had 4 more shifts and changes that made me take a step back and go, oh, I still had heavy metals. I had things, the biggest thing that was my, oh, thank God that's gone, was it's really hard to explain. It was some kind of pain high in my cheekbone. So it didn't feel like a toothache. And I'm like, maybe I should go see an oral surgeon. It was freaking me out. What the heck is this? And I just intuitively knew that when I put the drops in my mouth, well, why not lay down in bed and kind of focus those drops in that area? And in 3 weeks, it went away and it's never come back in almost 5 years. May will be 5 years that I've been taking Cell Defender, and I've never missed a day. So in hindsight's always 2020. I really do connect the dots. That was mercury, maybe something else too, but years prior, I had connected the dots that every time I ate canned tuna fish, which I don't eat anymore, I would get, like, it felt like somebody punched me in my face. It was a little tender here. So same area. And so it must have been some kind of heavy metals, probably mercury, and that went away in the first 3 weeks. So I'm really glad that I upped it and took more than the maintenance. I wish our Cell Defender came with a little notice that whatever it says on the bottle, that's bare maintenance. And you don't want to start off with maintenance. You don't want to maintain where you're at. You want to kick out the crud. And let's face it, I used to save the crisis amount, 10 drops every waking hour, for people that were in crisis mode. But honestly, I wouldn't have said I was in crisis mode 5 years ago. We're all in crisis mode when we start Cell Defender. Unless, it's a fresh baby or maybe a small animal, we are all in crisis mode. So to kick it up the notch, kick out the crud, that is super, super important. And now I'm really tweaking how I talk to people, because now I explain that we're all in crisis mode, and I want people to get results and notice it, because it can be a little tough sometimes to notice. And Rick said it himself back in 2005. He told the company he first sold it through, I don't know if people will notice their heavy metals and gaseous toxins leaving their body, but that's what it does. And you can't stop it from doing that. That'd be like taking a magnet off your fridge and going, okay, I'm going to put you back on, and you're not going to stick. It's going to stick. It's going to pull out the trash. You can't stop it. The changes might be very subtle. So by kicking it up a notch, they truly should notice some shifts and changes. And who knows what that's going to be for them. We can't tell them this is what you're going to feel on the 3rd hour at the 3rd day. No, we have no idea, because we're all like a fingerprint when it comes to our toxic load. The amount we have, the combination we have, and the first thing it's going to grab, it loves the mercury, the cadmium, lead, arsenic, aluminum, and so on down the line. So we have no idea, but we know 100%, I will wager the farm, it's going to take out heavy metals. And if you ate, drank, or breathed today, you have them. If you're upright and living in this world, you have them. I'm sorry, but you do. And it's going to work for you the same way it works for me. But what you notice, and what I noticed in the beginning, it's a fingerprint. We're all different. So I love that we have one thing that really can change so many things. There's not one thing that fixes everything. I love Cell Defender, but let's face it, it's a lifestyle. It's the water you drink, the food you eat, the thoughts you think. The other great formulas that we have, it's a combination of everything. But I always say, if somebody came to me and said, you can have one thing and then do the best you can with food, what is it, Paige? I'm like, it's a no-brainer. It has to be Cell Defender because there's nothing else in the world that's going to clean up my heavy metals. I need that. That is the one thing that I pray that I'm never without, and I have no intention of stopping anytime soon. These heavy metals are going to be in our environment, unfortunately, perhaps to the day I pass. So I'm going to keep doing it so that everything is hitting on all pistons. Yeah, I am forever grateful for you, Dave, and I am serving my purpose. I have to do this. I love working my business every single day. And as long as I'm reaching out and connecting with people every day, I feel good inside. If for some reason I miss a day and I'm not able to connect to a lot of people, I feel it. I feel like, ooh, I haven't served people today. I'm just a servant. That's all. I help guide people. The choice is always theirs. We can't control anybody, what they want to do, but we do have to educate. And I love that I think this business model is the best in the world. We all go to work and make money, and I don't know of too many things that are just free. So you do have to pay for them. I've paid for my Cell Defender every month for 5 years. Nothing's given for free. And I love that Rick already had the experience of having a couple of his formulas sitting on the shelf at Walmart, at GNC, and they just died. He could have paid millions of dollars to one or two advertising agencies, but the stores still aren't going to call up the customers and say, so how's that Cell Defender working for you? Never. That will never, ever happen. I never did that in the nutrition department. So that is our job, is to educate. That's it, is to just educate and to get paid for that. I think that's totally fair. I work very hard. I spend many hours a day helping people downline, crossline, doesn't matter. And why shouldn't I be compensated for that? And it's a blessing. Thank goodness he had no choice. And thank goodness he got burned by a few other companies selling his product, because we wouldn't be here today with him owning it. Everything flows in the way it's supposed to. And it was a blessing in disguise. We were all bummed the third time. I was, that he was like, okay, that's it. I'm not going to do this anymore. Thank God for Liz saying, oh, no, yes, you are. And everybody else saying, no, we need this. So everything has turned out to a blessing. Super grateful.
I'm just thinking about this. So I've used this for getting close to 8 years,
Oh,
and I've used it under 4 different labels, 4 different brands. Oh, so the fourth time is the charm. But that's really fun to think about, this novelty where here we are, a product that's been around over 20 years now, and millions of bottles have been sold over that period. I can't imagine just countless thousands of people, including myself, who have dramatically benefited with it. And so it's proven in the marketplace. It does work. A lot of clinical studies that show you put it in your body. And I love telling people that I just met somebody yesterday, last night, and we got talking. And he happens to sell medical equipment and different things like that. And I said, we need to do lunch or something like that. And he says, what do you do? And I said, actually, the funnest thing I've ever done, I've worked with more the natural side of health, but I'm helping a biochemist launch his own company. And he's done billions of dollars worth of development for other companies over about a 30-year period. And he's got something just amazing that I'm particularly passionate about. And have you heard of Clean Up Till Light? Nobody's heard of that, and it's fun to say that. And then I said, that's a natural mineral that has some very unique characteristics. And he's found a way to make it into microscopic crystals, put it into a colloidal suspension, and one drop has a couple of 100,000 of these little crystals. You just drop it on your tongue. Moments later, all of these crystals are going everywhere your blood's going and catching bad stuff that you don't want, but it leaves the good stuff alone. As an example, zinc or magnesium or the essential minerals that we need, it's not very interested in those, but it loves lead and mercury and cadmium and all this bad stuff that we all have. And essentially, everything bad is connected with the heavy metals. That's a component, and this is so simple, so elegant. And so I got his name and number. And how about that? Something might happen that's wonderful because he's already in sales and loves health. And maybe not, but we'll see what happens. Or every business loves referrals. I always use that. That's one of my talking points when I meet people. And if you meet people, develop a relationship, and they like you, they see value in what you have, hopefully they'll become a customer, participate, but at least they might give you a name. And that's so powerful. Another thing I think is really wonderful is, as Rick has done all this, and he's had lots of experience, and he's a pharmaceutical biochemist as well as a nutritional. And one of the things I think is really interesting is we were introduced to this through Rick. This has been on the market for years and years, and it never went anywhere. And so if you actually went to Walmart and looked around that myriad of that long aisle of pain relief, maybe you might actually find that. But it's just one little tree in the forest of all of this stuff. Nobody knows what it is, how it works, or anything. And to just emphasize the power of word of mouth, the person talking to another person, a little Avini, just a few years, outsells way, way more than Rick ever tried to do it. And he says it so well. He says, I love being in front of people with these products than rather having it just sit on a shelf. And that's the magic of what this is. And pretty much over the history of nutrition and direct sales, almost all of the really cool stuff was first introduced to the market. In the middle 80s, I was with a company that launched CoQ10. Nobody had ever heard of that before. It's the name of it is ubiquinone because it's ubiquitous. It's everywhere in the body, but it's also ubiquitous in health food stores because it's so good. But oh my goodness, there's just so many things. And as we get things going, there's a lot of people that are thinking, well, this looks good too. I think we can use some of those words that Rick says. And yeah, we could do that too, but we're the first. We're the ones with the clinical studies and the backing. And definitely, I believe we're the very best. And if you're going to use something, you might as well use the best. But it's just so exciting. And then talk about, okay, right place at the right time with Avini. You and I think there's a few people that have been following along for years that maybe the quote medical industrial complex, maybe the best way to be healthy is not take symptomatic drugs that just treat the symptoms. And essentially, in a way, it's almost like saying, you follow me, you're never going to get better and you're going to take drugs the rest of your life. The thing that's really fascinating is just in the course of the last few months, all of a sudden, we're seeing huge changes in the CDC and WHO, the pyramid, the food pyramid just got turned upside down. There's just all of a sudden, all this stuff has become national consciousness that we've got a problem. 100 years ago, America was the healthiest nation in the world. Now they're worst. We're the worst. Think of any other country. We lead the world in all the bad stuff. And I think we're in a position where we can lead the world in all the good stuff again with this because we're addressing stuff at the issue. And I love when people talk about this product and everything. They'll say, will this help this or will this help that? And one of my talking points I always talk about is there's a myriad of diseases, and think of just all the different things they are. And most of those diseases describe things that aren't working right in the body. And so if you think on a fundamental cellular level, all of those trillions of cells that are in the body, you could say every disease is simply malfunctioning cells. Because if all the cells were functioning, you could not be sick. And so here we are, you got a symptom. That's because in that particular body system or organ or tissue or whatever, you've got some malfunctioning cells. How do you have healthy cells? We give them everything they need, but equally critical, don't give them what they don't need. And since we're getting that, we're being inundated with that every day, here's a way to take a shower on the inside of your body every time you take it and clean out that stuff. And as Rick famously says, a healthy, clean body fixes itself. Your body wants to get better if it just has the materials to work with and the micro monkey wrenches out of the body to help things work. So we're at the right place at the right time.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, I love that when you're talking to somebody and they ask what you do, that you use the word clinoptilolite. That's clever because a lot of people have heard of zeolite, but that's a better way to start talking about that to get them more interested without giving the answer right away, because you want that conversation to blossom instead of giving all the answers right out the gate. So I'm going to use that. That was a great idea.
It's fun to say something that creates curiosity. The whole idea when we reach out to people is get them curious enough to want to learn more. And so it's fun. And the thing I also like is I don't pass out business cards. I always tell people, hey, if I've got a little interview with a biochemist, and do you listen to podcasts? Most people, oh, I love podcasts. And I say, hey, let me send you something. What's your phone number? And I'll just text that to you. And now I've got their name and I've got their number, and so I can follow up. But if you hand out a card, the moment of interest, it'll pass, and they'll never get around to 99% of the time. You'll never hear from them again. So you capture names.
Absolutely. Absolutely. No one's ever called me when I handed out a business card. So I learned the hard way real quick.
Names and numbers, and then write it down and make a log and make details, make notes about that person, so it'll draw your memory.
Yep. I always put my notes in my cell phone under their account in the note department. That's how I keep track of them. And it's nice. We're supposed to keep it simple, and we can, starting with the cell defender, because it only does the two things of attracting, trapping, and safely removing the heavy metals and gaseous toxins, and then making us slightly alkaline. Period. That's it. The rest is the miracle of our body. So like Paul says, about you can't out nutrition an illness. It's so true. We're spinning our wheels to take the supplements. Unfortunately, we do need supplements in this world because our food is so void of nutrition, and it sits on a truck or a shelf a long time before we get it. So yeah, we do need nutrition, but it's wasting our time and money if we don't take out the trash first. I always share the example of the lead sitting in the receptor where calcium goes. You can't out nutrition that. You have to get the lead out first. We have the most foundational answer to health of anything else that I'm aware of. And if there was something better, hey, we'd be talking about that today. But there isn't. I'm here because it works. I'm married to the results, and I can't deny it. The results are very close to our hearts. Troy helped his son. My boyfriend helped his son that was damaged at 4 years old when he had to get a cocktail of what before he went into the 4th grade, and walked in with a perfect 4-year-old boy and walked out with a very sick 4-year-old boy. And he was damaged for 13 years. And we told him at the time to take at least 4, if not 5, 10 drops of Cell Defender every single day. And it was 5 weeks that all of those symptoms that plagued him for 13 years, they were devastating. He really wanted to take his own life because it was so life altering. They were all gone in 5 weeks. So you can't tell us it doesn't work. And then the thousands of stories I tell people, I'm not even exaggerating. In the last almost 5 years, I am sure I have heard over 4,000 different testimonials. So you can't tell me that illness isn't connected to heavy metals and gaseous toxins. We're perfectly designed, but we're also perfectly gunked up. But we have the answer to it. Yay. It's so simple. It really is simple what it does. Dave, as far as follow-up, I do have to say, I do love Paul's new 10 quiz challenge follow-up piece of paper on his cleanstart90.com site. It's under tools and documents. It's the last one. It's a perfect place to put the person's name, and if they want it, hopefully they want to take the cleanstart90score.com and keep track of that, what they got in the beginning, what they get after 90 days. And I want to share something with you. I got an email from my friend Amy, who's in Chico, California. She's been my friend ever since I lived in Lake Tahoe. We've known each other, oh my gosh, I don't know, 25 years now at least. And she was able to go to one of Chip and Tony's meetings. I was so grateful for that. And Amy, this woman is an angel. And it just seems like if back in 2020, she opened up her own hair salon with a friend. And then that whole fiasco hit and she lost that. And it was just one awful thing after another. And she started using Cell Defender, gosh, maybe back before it was even Cell Defender. I introduced it to her, and she was only able to do like the maintenance amount. And then a bunch of things went south again for her a few months ago. And I'm getting all choked up because I love her so much and she's been through so much. And now she's able to do the 10 drops 10 times a day. And it's been about a week. So she's never done this. And she scored 23 on the Clean Start 90 score. So she sent me an email. I'm going to read you part of it. She said, "This dose is different," meaning 10 drops 10 times a day. "I'm blown away how I can feel these changes happening in my lymphatic system. Literally, I have felt the unclogging start. Very strange sensation. I've known my lymph system has been clogged for decades. I am over the moon. I have the slightest rise in energy and some cognitive glimmers. I was able to actually listen to and comprehend a couple of Avini Health training videos." Thank you, Paige. That's 1 week in, and she has real hope now. So I am from now on, just, you got to do, the crisis amount, because we're all in crisis mode. And if you want to kick out the crud and hurry up and get to maintenance, this is how you do it. And $299 and then $250 and $250, really, it might sound like a lot to somebody who doesn't have a lot of money, but if you compare it to not having your health, it is dirt cheap. It's dirt cheap. That's a new saying, Dave. It is dirt, and it's dirt cheap compared to not having your health, because health is the most important thing. We all know we can have all the money in the world, but if we can't get out of our chair, out of bed, really, does it even matter? It doesn't. We have to have our health. That was hard to share.
Oh, that's the true pay. It's fun to get a check from Avini, but that emotional check, that spiritual income that you make. And as you do this, what happens? More and more phone calls, emails, things like that. You surround yourself with a whole new reality that reinforces that this is good, this is right, and we're on something that really does make a difference. And wow, you get to be a part of that. It's just so amazing.
Yeah.
Wowee. You've got one of the things I really like is sharing stories. We all heard facts tell, stories sell, and a lot of stories, they don't have to be really long. You've got some short little ditties. What's your website where you can access some really good stories?
We have maybe about 100 testimonials on realawins.com. So I call it RAW for short, your testimonial in the RAW, realawins.com. And I welcome anybody to reach out to me and make an appointment to help you record your testimonial. But we have so many places with testimonials. Don't we have Avini Health training testimonials? Is it
Yes, we do. Yeah, yeah, avinihealthtraining.com, which is pretty much everything. Avini is all one place. And so if you're thinking, oh, I got a question about how do I get paid, or when's this meeting, or whatever is going on, Avini Health Training, it's probably there.
Yeah.
Realawins.com is very useful for just short stories. Yeah, spend a little bit of time looking through that, and you'll probably want to share those with people.
Yeah. And I have heard from Neil that they have not forgotten about it. It's just timing and getting through other things with support, but they do have intention of putting short testimonials on our website. And I did share with them to also please, more than the person's name, since everybody doesn't know everybody, but to use one word, what the testimonial is about. But they are going to drop in short testimonials. And I just keep saying it out loud because I can't wait for it to happen. I want to be able to go to our site and see all these different testimonials. They could upload 100 between my site. They have all of my testimonials in their raw Zoom format. And then all the ones off the training site, they could easily have 100 on there, and then just put the word, what it's pertaining to. Because I'm sure most people are like me, where if you buy something, I actually check out the reviews first, and our testimonials are reviews. So they are very important, and I cannot wait for the day that they get uploaded. Come on, Michael.
Hey, another thing to just consider, okay, I just barely sponsored somebody, And I talked to them, and they're coming to the convention next week.
Nice.
Wow. Now, I think they're going to get really excited, but ask. And also, one of the big things, if you're looking at this and you don't know anything, it's not too late. One of the best things you could do as far as due diligence or just see if this is real, but definitely all of us that have been around a little while, we can all use a reinforcement, a repump up. I believe one of the biggest things is just vision. If you come home with shining eyes and you're excited, that's contagious. And so come. And the big thing also is once you start coming, the thrill is having people with you that you're represented there, and so use it as a tool to work with. But I think that's the biggest thing: is talk to people, gather more people, get them plugged in, do three-way phone calls, and then it all culminates in working towards events that you can get people to where they get excited.
Yeah.
So
And speaking of, you get shiny eyes, pay attention when you go to the summit, because I noticed years ago, I think the first time I really noticed was in Dallas, which is probably 4 years ago now, at least three. Anyways, I was looking around and I'm like, damn, people are, Avenians have really nice skin. They have sparkly eyes, and the energy from having a cleaner, healthier body is always going to be a better frequency. It's a vibe that you get. And I've been around people in the natural health arena for all of my life. And I can honestly say, going to an Avini summit, any kind of gathering with Avini, I have literally never been surrounded by so many like-minded people in my life. So it is a family reunion when we get together. Learning from Rick in person is a hoot. He is such a great teacher. He makes learning about all this science fun. He's got a sense of humor. So I highly recommend it to anybody and everybody. And it's for me, first and foremost, it is a family reunion for sure. So yeah, bring your family, because your family expands. Your family is beyond your bloodline. It's the people that you resonate with. And I resonate with everybody in Avini. We're on the same page. We're on the same path. We just want to help people first and foremost. That's all we want to do. We always get paid in goosebumps first when we help people, and to be compensated, hey, that's just a bonus, because guess what? We'd share it even if we didn't get compensated. So there you go. Right?
this is a good habit, and
Yes.
if you share it with a few people, then you can afford your own habit, and so that's a really good thing, just funding your own product. But
Yeah.
if you can do that, well, a little bit more, and just it's amazing. An extra 500 a month or whatever could really make a positive difference with so many people. And so,
Absolutely. Yeah. And
but
I never knew. I was never even dreamed, thought about, cared. It wasn't even on my agenda of being a diamond. No, I found something that works and you need to know about it. Oh my gosh. And then it just grew organically. So I'm learning the whole network marketing thing. I came into this trying one company before, never ever was successful. And I never could understand their comp plan. I never could understand it. I still to this day don't understand it. I nailed ours in about 45 minutes. I had two questions, asked those questions, got them answered, and boom, there I understood it. It's like it's so simple. And and then it just comes down to sharing it, because that's all you have to do is share, care, follow up, educate, and you share, because hey, we're walking the talk. We're doing this. We're not saying, here, you do this, but I'm not doing it. No, I do this every day. My cats do it every day. The dog does it every day. We all do it every day, because we're all about preventative now. We've done that, the crisis mode. I still do pretty close to the crisis mode amount every day. 5 years into it, I just do. But yeah, we're all walking the talk here. And I am absolutely going to share what works. I can't keep my mouth shut. Why would I want to help people? So it's a no-brainer, huh, Dave? Just a no-brainer.
that's right, Paige. And everybody we touch with Avini, they're better because of it. And that's fun to be more. And there's let's just make everybody more better.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. This is awesome. Let's go do this.
All right, let's do this, Dave.
Take care, everybody.
Bye.